seek the right justice to keep this man from coming out and for him to serve his right time. You know, this has been a long road, and it's still a long road to go. And I'm not gonna rest or be satisfied until this man do his rightful time. You know, and all I'm asking, you know, is for help. You know, in a positive way, you know, without any corruptions about it, just asking for help. You know, me and my family, we went through heartache, we went through pain, and we still suffering now of the loss of my grandson. You know, this man took a generation from us, from him being a father, a grandfather, you know, still growing to be a big brother, an uncle, all in one. And I just want justice, the right justice to be done. Because 81 months wasn't no time at all. It was a slap on the wrist. The man served 3.5 years and still laughing about it because it was a slap on the wrist. But the judge knew that he had to give him something because he knew everybody's gonna go in an uproar. But it wasn't right. So all I'm asking is just to help keep this man from getting out. Because I know in my heart, and everybody else knows, that he did not serve the time that he's supposed to be serving.
I'm Laquan McDonald auntie, his first auntie. I don't really have so much to say, but I just want to just show y'all something. The pictures of my nephew. This is Bum, a sweet person. My parties. This him. This Laquan. This his sister Tyriana. This Bum at my baby parties. My grandma Bum to my niece. That's all I want to say.
Good job, Tanisha.
Good morning, everyone, and I'm glad to see so many cameras here today. As you know, as Will said, 1 week from today, Jason Van Dyke will be released from prison. And you all know the story. In 2014, Van Dyke was in a Chicago police officer shot 17-year-old Laquan McDonald 16 times while on duty, and the video was captured. That video shook me to my core. I am a mother of a black son and a grandmother of 2 black boys. Laquan was Tina Hunter's son. Laquan was Tracy Hunter's grandson. Throughout this ordeal, Laquan's family, supported by dedicated activists, have had to fight to bring his murderer to justice. They had to fight to get the video released and to make sure that Van Dyke was charged with murder. Prosecutors were successful in securing a conviction. However, the sentence was too light, 6 years, which have been trimmed down to 3. The same charges against him were the same charges against the man that killed George Floyd. He got 22 years, still not enough, but 22 years compared to 6 years. There's something terribly wrong with that. That is not justice. So I'm simply here today to add my voice to those who have been leading this movement for many years to call for real justice. His murderer will walk free, get to hug his family, he'll get to get on with his life. Laquan won't be able to do that, as his grandmother said. And we need to make sure that Laquan is not forgotten and that this does not happen again. This is just plain, simple injustice. And we need serious reform. We need the United States to pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. In the 8 years since Laquan was murdered, we've seen so many more stories, unfortunately, similar stories. So I'm encouraging everyone listening to raise your voice, make your voices heard, keep your voices loud. To Tina and Tracy, once again, I'm so sorry for your loss, that you have to stand here and you're not out in the cold, but you feel out in the cold to demand justice for your son, for your nephew, for all the people that were Laquan's friends and his relatives. And I just want to thank Will. I don't know if he gets thanked enough for all the work that he has done and the attention he has paid to this. Von Rowland, Father Mike Flager, Representative Buckner, thank you all for everything that you're doing. So we do not forget this. We cannot forget this. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Tina and Tracy, thank you for your strength. 3 years for murder. 3 years for murder. We stand here today with the Hunter McDonald family, not operating out of a position of weakness, but from a position of strength, because the truth is on their side. We're here today joining with family, the faith community, the activist community, federal and state legislative leaders, because our obligation and our responsibility to Laquan did not end with the guilty verdict. It's an unfortunate reality that we have been so programmed and so used to getting nothing that getting anything sometimes feels like a win. But half justice is no justice at all. A modicum of justice is no justice at all. Pervasive justice is no justice at all. We realize that a federal investigation won't bring Laquan back. But we also realize that it's incumbent upon all of us that we establish a national standard for effective policing in communities of color so that we restore the public's trust in law enforcement in order to create a fairer, more equitable system of justice for all Americans. I want to be clear. As Will said, we did not just begin to ask for this month. This didn't come from some serendipitous clarity. These calls have been made since the day the video was released and since the day of the guilty verdict and the subpar sentencing. We are asking for the proper response to a crime where a 17-year-old was deprived of his civil rights. His right to exist was taken from him. For Jason Van Dyke to walk free on February 3rd would be maddening. February 3rd is the anniversary of the ratification of the 15th Amendment to the United States Constitution, which prohibited the denial of voting rights based on race in this country. That was 1870. February 3rd has a historical significance for righteousness and for being right. We're asking that the U.S. Department of Justice take its rightful place in this case of the violation of civil rights and this horrendous murder.
Thank you, Representative Buckner and Congresswoman Kelly. To Will, thank you for leading this cause for all these years. And of course, to the family, thank you for your strength. This horrible tragedy and insult began with the murder of Laquan McDonald. It continued with police lying on a report and then a covering up and a holding back of this and the video cams for so long. And then it continued with a slap on the wrist of a sentence. And now it continues with an early release. Explain that. Explain that to the family. Explain that to all those sitting in Cook County Jail for years on a light drug charge and hadn't even got a trial, let alone got a sentence. Explain that to the people of Chicago and the young people of Chicago who you say you want to believe in the justice system. Explain that for all people who demand and want a reform in this justice system. And to those, as Congressman Kelly said, we saw what happened to the murders of George Floyd, same charges, but very different sentencing. We want people to rise up all across Chicago. As Congresswoman Kelly said, speak up. Make your voices heard. As I said the other day, this is not a black issue. This is a justice issue. So white people, North Side, Hispanic people, Asian people, everyone who believes in justice should be shouting and screaming that Jason Van Dyke should not be getting out of jail. He needs to be indicted by the federal government. We expected nothing out of Trump. We have a new White House. We have a new administration. do something.
All right. Thank you.